In this presentation, we are going to discuss problem number 2 on signal flow graphs. So let's get started. The signal flow graph of a system is shown in the below figure. The transfer function Cs over Rs of the system is. We are given a signal flow graph and we need to find out the overall transfer function Cs over Rs. This is a multiple choice question and was asked in GATE EC 2003 given by IIT Madras. So firstly, I want you all to pause this video and try this problem on your own. And if you are able to do it, post your answers in the comment section. So moving on to the solution. If we want to calculate the overall transfer function of this signal flow graph, we need to apply the Mason's gain rule in this SFG. And we know that the first step to apply the Mason's gain rule is the identification of forward paths. So tell me the number of forward paths in this SFG. It is equal to 2, right? No, the number of forward paths is equal to 1. Starting from this input node Rs, moving towards this node and finally moving towards this output node. That's all. This is the forward path. Many of you might be thinking about this forward path. If we start from this node and move towards this node along this branch, and then if we follow this path to move towards this node, and then if we take this branch to move towards this node, then we move along this branch towards this node, and finally with this branch we move towards the output node. Now, is this a valid forward path? No, this is not a valid forward path. If we move along this forward path and consider this as a valid forward path, then we forget an important point, which is forward path is the path from the input node to the output node without repetition of any node. And in this path, this node is counted twice. And that's why this is not a valid forward path. So now we know that the number of forward paths in this SFG is equal to 1. Let us now move on to the forward path gain, which is the product of these two branches. So 1 multiplied with 1 is equal to 1. Now moving on to the identification of individual loops. Observe the signal flow graph and try to find out the number of loops. Firstly, if we start from this node and move to this node along this branch and take this branch to come back to this node, then it will form a loop. And the gain of this loop will be the product of these two branches. It will be minus 2 multiplied with 1 over s. So the first loop is L1 with a gain minus 2 over s. Now moving on, if we start from this node and follow this branch to move up to this node, and if we take this branch to move back to this node, then this will form a loop. And the gain of this loop will be the product of these three branches. It will be equal to 6 multiplied with 1 over s multiplied with minus 4. So our second loop is L2 having gain minus 24 over s. Now, if we observe this portion of SFG and if we start from this node and move on this branch towards this node, and then if we take this branch to move back towards this node, then this will also form a loop. And the gain of this loop will be the product of these two branches. So our third loop is L3 and the gain of this loop will be minus 3 multiplied with 1 over s, which is minus 3 over s. So now we are done with the identification of individual loops in this signal flow graph, and we know there are 3 individual loops. Moreover, if we observe this loop L1 and this loop L3, we can say that these are non-touching loops because they do not have any node as common. So we can say that the loops L1 and L3 are non-touching loops. And now we will move on to the calculation of determinant of SFG. Now moving on to the calculation of determinant of SFG delta, and we know that delta equal to 1 minus of sum of gains of all the individual loops plus sum of products of gains of all possible combinations of two non-touching loops minus of sum of products of gains of all possible combinations of 3 non-touching loops plus so on. Now we will apply this formula in order to calculate the delta, which is equal to 1 minus of sum of all individual loop gains. So we have 3 individual loops and the sum of these loop gains will be L1 plus L2 plus L3. plus sum of products of gains of all possible combinations of two non-touching loops. So we have a pair of non-touching loops which is L1 and L3. So the product of gains of these two loops will be L1 multiplied with L3 minus of sum of products of gains of all possible combinations of three non-touching loops and so on. In the given SFG, we do not have three non-touching loops. So the gain of three non-touching loops will be equal to 0. And hence, rest all the factors will become 0 and we will have the value of delta 1 minus of minus 2 over s plus minus 24 over s plus minus 3 over s plus 6 over s squared. The gain of loop L1 is minus 2 over s and the gain of loop L3 is minus 3 over s, and if we multiply these two we will have 6 over s squared. And if we solve this, we will have the delta equal to 1 plus 29 over s plus 6 over s squared. If we take the LCM, we will have the determinant of SFG delta equal to s squared plus 29 multiplied with s plus 6 over s squared. So now we are done with the calculation of determinant of this signal flow graph. We will now move on to the calculation of associated path factor. Considering this signal flow graph one more time, and we know that if we want to calculate the associated path factor, we need to erase the forward path. And if we eliminate or erase this forward path, the signal flow graph will look like this. Now we have to observe this signal flow graph and check for the remaining loops. And the remaining loops are called as isolated loops. So we can see that there are two isolated loops in this signal flow graph. The first loop is the loop L2 having gain minus 24 over s, and the second loop is this loop L3 having gain minus 3 over s. So moving on to the calculation of delta 1, which is equal to 1 minus of sum of gains of all the individual isolated loop gains plus sum of products of gains of all possible combinations of two non-touching isolated loops and so on. In this signal flow graph, we do not have any non-touching isolated loops, and that's why the gain of two non-touching isolated loops is equal to 0. We have two individual isolated loops L2 and L3. Since these are isolated loops, we will call them L2 asterisk and L3 asterisk. The gain of this loop L2 asterisk or L2 star is minus 24 over s, and the gain of this loop L3 asterisk or L3 star is minus 3 over s. If we put these values in this, we will have delta 1 equal to 1 minus of minus 24 over s minus 3 over s, which is equal to 1 plus 27 over s. If we take the LCM, we will have delta 1 equal to s plus 27 over s. And this is the associated path factor with respect to this forward path. So now we are done with the calculation of forward path gain, loop gain, the determinant of SFG and the associated path factor. We will now put these values in the Mason's gain formula in order to calculate the overall transfer function. So now we will apply the Mason's gain formula in order to calculate the overall transfer function. We have P1 equal to 1, delta 1, which is the associated path factor with respect to this path, equal to s plus 27 over s, and the determinant of SFG delta equal to s squared plus 29s plus 6 over s squared. So applying the Mason's gain formula, we have Cs over Rs equal to summation from k equal to 1 to 1 pk multiplied with del k over delta. The number of forward paths in this signal flow graph is equal to 1, and that is why the value of n is equal to 1. Now, if we open this summation, we will have Cs over Rs equal to P1 multiplied with del 1 over delta. Now, if we put all these values in this equation, we will have 1 multiplied with s plus 27 over s over s squared plus 29s plus 6 over s squared. If we take the LCM and solve this equation, we will have Cs over Rs equal to s multiplied with s plus 27 over s squared plus 29s plus 6. And this is the overall transfer function of the given signal flow graph, which is option D. We will take some more problems based on signal flow graphs in the upcoming lectures. As of now, we are done with this lecture. Try these problems on your own, and if you are able to do it, let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching this lecture. I'll end this one here. See you in the next lecture.